Well, thanks for joining us today as we keep an eye on your ag commodity markets. I'm Marlon Bowling with you, your tour guide to these ag commodity trades. And, well, I want to dive right in here to these markets and see what the corn is doing right now with our quotes provided by Bar Chart. It is unchanged on the March, and now it's a whole quarter of a cent higher. Ooh-wee. December corn up a half at 5.89 3/4. Gee, can you tell there might be some reports coming out tomorrow? On the soybean trade right now, you have March 6 3/4 higher at 14.91 3/4. It's been kind of meandering around after it opened and surged to $15 and then backed away, and now it's just hovering roughly about a dime under that right now. Now, meanwhile, when you look at our wheat trade, in Chicago, you have the March contract 4 1/4 higher at 7.35 1/4. This is kind of interesting because it was under a little pressure earlier, and now it's starting to firm up just a little bit. Kansas City hard red wheat, March now 1 3/4 higher at 8.13 1/2. We've been on both sides of unchanged today. In the Minneapolis spring wheat market, March is 4 1/4 higher at 8.98 3/4. It got up to 8.99 and could not take out $9 today. July is now 2 1/4 cents higher right now. And on the cotton trade, March down 40 points at 84.36. December new crop cotton down 60 at 81.43. Well, I'm joined by none other than Mr. Todd Bubba Horowitz of BubbaTrading.com. He's in Las Vegas today. Todd, this is one of those markets where it's like everybody just stayed home or something, and they're phoning it in. There's not a lot going on in the grain trade.
You know, Marlon, it's been like this for really months. When you really look back at the picture, there's been some swings back and forth. But from a logic standpoint, nothing makes sense. The rising costs of input versus the falling prices of the output. There's not any logic in this market whatsoever right now. And are we waiting for the reports? I don't think so. I think it's really they're waiting on the Fed and the money, and whether I think some of these smaller farmers and producers aren't going to plant this year. I don't see the entire process of what we're watching here other than a destruction of an overall economy, which is kind of scary.
Let's look at that December corn contract right now. I've got a 6-month chart brought up, and right now we're at 5.89 3/4, so we're not even very close to $6 right now. That kind of takes away a little bit of that incentive from forward pricing. November soybeans right now 13.93. Earlier this morning they were flirting with $14 and kind of backing away from that too. Do you think those are important thresholds that we need to get back up above them before farmers get very excited about planting more?
I think so, because again, the profit margins are shrinking so far, and when you're a farmer, you take a tremendous amount of risk just to plant. And I think that, look, I'm very bullish. I think we're going to have a big market in commodities across the board this year. However, it's becoming increasingly frustrating to watch, the lack of activity and the lack of things that we're seeing that could actually be helping farmers. In fact, I would say there's more of a hindrance to the farming community when they continue to raise interest rates, because we know farmers pay more than anybody else because it's considered risk capital. So there's a whole bunch of issues here that have really toned down and dulled the market as we kind of wait to see what's going to happen going forward.
Do you want to take a look at the outside crude oil market, West Texas Intermediate crude? It's been firming up today, and we have February now at 76.05 per barrel. That is up 93 cents as we speak, but it's still about $1 and a dime off of our earlier high this morning. Well, our thanks to Todd Bubba Horowitz for joining us here today, and he is with BubbaTrading.com. He's in Las Vegas. We'll come back in a moment, and I'll analyze what's going on in our livestock trade after this. Well, it's that time of the week where we like to head over to Des Moines, Iowa, find out what's going on in the wholesale pork trade. Why? Because that's where we have Chris Summers. He's a market news reporter with the USDA. He tracks all those numbers and sorts out all that data for us. And Chris, what did you find out for the trend here this past week?
The start of 2023 as far as the wholesale pork trade kind of started with a thud. Cutout was down 380 at 85.04. The only primal that was a little bit higher was a loin, a little over $1 higher at 84.23. Boston butt primal down $1.04 at 110.38. The ham primal lost almost $6 at 80.78, and the belly primal finished the week at 91.21, down 8.21. Load counts, of course, we can't compare them to the holiday week, so just we look at the numbers negotiated at 14.34, formula 31.17, forward a dismal 3.70, and export at 4.55. Estimated slaughter last week 2.296 million, and estimated meat production 496 million pounds. That's a wrap up of the pork trade for you, sir.
Well, real quickly here, Chris, do you think these numbers will perk up then next week now that we're into a full business week here in 2023?
Be seen. I know there's a lot of hope, but one reality and hope meet. We'll figure it out and see what we got for next Monday.
All right, well put. Well, thanks for that, Chris Summers with USDA in Des Moines, Iowa. Now let's take a look at our latest trades on our livestock market action, and we have our quotes provided by Bar Chart. We'll begin with our live cattle. We've been coming under a little pressure here today. We currently have the February live cattle 42 lower. Now 45 lower at 157.30. April down 50 at 161.15. On the feeder cattle side, well, they are seeing some triple-digit losses here. March down 107 at 185.42. April down $1.15 right now. And on the lean hogs, well, the February is 7 cents higher at 79.87, but that's it. Everything else lower. April down 60 at 88.92. I did get some new ethanol report, production information, just came in moments ago, and I wanted to run through these numbers with you. Production really ramped up this past week, in case you were wondering. Went from 844,000 barrels a day a week ago to 943,000 this past week, almost a gain of 100,000 barrels a day. The ethanol stocks, they went down too by 600,000 barrels to 23.8 million, and no imports last week. So all in all, pretty positive report on ethanol production. Janet, with that, I'll turn it back to you.
All right, as always, thank you, Marlon. Well, in an effort to bridge the gap between farmers and consumers, the Iowa Soybean Association is dribbling up an exciting new partnership. Here's more on shooting for their goal.
We're here to talk about something pretty exciting, and that is a new partnership that's being launched between the Iowa Wolves and the Iowa Soybean Association. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, well, we're very excited to partner with the Iowa Soybean Association to bring your message to our growing audience of fans that follow the NBA G League and the Iowa Wolves.
Let's get familiar with the Iowa Wolves. Tell us a little bit about this G League program and about the product.
So our product has changed quite a bit over the last, I'd say, 6+ years. For a long time, a lot of people are probably familiar with the Iowa Energy, and the Iowa Energy were always a part of the NBA D League, and now it's the NBA G League. It's called that. It's part of a Gatorade sponsorship that came in years ago, and what the league has done over the last handful of years is to add resources and help a lot of individuals get to the next level. Often refer to ourselves as the League of Opportunity, and so what you find now in our league is a lot of one-to-one team affiliation. So we are affiliated, we are a franchise of the Minnesota Timberwolves. I am a Minnesota Timberwolves employee, and many of our players are looking to make it to the next level. Last year was amazing for the league across the board, where now more than 50% of current NBA players first played in the NBA G League.
Well, and of course, at the Iowa Soybean Association, we're always looking for ways, Chip, to find opportunities to introduce what soybean farmers do, what the soy product is all about, how it benefits Iowa, and doing it through new initiatives like our partnership with the Iowa Wolves. Talk a little bit about what our partnership will involve here as we move into really the full scale of your season.
Yeah, I think there are several elements to the partnership that we're excited about. First and foremost is helping to educate our audience, our growing audience of the importance of agriculture in our state, the wonderful things that the Soybean Association does, opportunities that exist in ag. We reach a very urban audience, which is great. We're in the heart of Des Moines. We reach a younger audience as well. So to be able to put some of that messaging in front of those folks is critical, as well as just families that are coming out for a good time.
Of course, as part of this partnership, we're not only going to have signage in game, but also be involved with some special events. I believe there's one in January and another one in February and into March.
Yeah, absolutely. So, some of the exciting stuff that we want to do is work with you all and our players to be able to, who come from all over the world, to be perfectly honest, to see some of the things that farmers are doing, and at the same time, work with your individuals to get an inside look at, what's nutrition like for our players, what's it like to be an NBA G League team.
Well, the group says bridging the gap between rural and urban America is a big part of their partnership. The Iowa Wolves say they're excited to create that content with players, the Soybean Association, and farmers. Well, coming up here in our next half hour this morning, one of Saskatchewan's longest-running ag shows has returned. Sean Haney details the event that brings in more than 20,000 people.